From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. And it is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTimeAngles. So let's go ahead and jump into it, man. We got ourselves some really good topics coming up today to speak about and all that good stuff. You know, we got college football coming up very, very soon. So, you know, everybody's looking at who's going to be the Heisman and all that good stuff. We also have some NFL is on the way as well, too. And then, you know, we always got our baseball going and everything like that, too. And I think we're pretty much done with hoops after what happened yesterday and everything like that with the summer league ending and all that good stuff. So I think we're pretty done with that portion of the season. You know, we'll get back to that when it's time to get back to that. So let's go ahead and jump into this first topic that I have for you. Is Drake Maye the best quarterback in the nation, and will he emerge as this year's Heisman? Well, Drake Maye is a very talented quarterback. This guy probably does check off all the boxes for a guy who should be going number one in the nation next year. It's just really that simple. Drake Maye is he's a good old Chapel Hill kid as well, too. He's somebody that, you know, grew up around the program and everything like that. His brother actually played for the basketball team as well, too. His brother was a big time asset to that team as well. They wound up doing something that's pretty incredible for North Carolina Tar Heel. That's winning the basketball national championship, one of many that they've had. And let's keep it real, over the last 20 years, they're one of the more dominant teams when it comes to winning national championships. They've been to I think about 6 or 7 in this time span. You know, I think they've been to more than anybody else over the last 2 decades. But all in all, this is a good old natural fit. This is a guy that picked the school that he wanted to play for, that he dreamed to play for, and he didn't get away from that. And he's taken his talent to here, and he's pretty much confirming that, you know, this is where I'm at. I'm not going anywhere, and this is just exactly where I want to be at. And, you know, everybody says, well, you know, his girlfriend was there and all that good stuff, but no. This guy was committed to the process, and he loved playing for North Carolina. So he didn't fall for what everybody wanted him to fall for. Running to another school and trying to get yourself, you know, situated at that school, you know what I mean, and becoming their quarterback and having to get comfortable. And yeah, because they're a better team and blah, 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 blah. But he knows that he has a lot of talent on his side as well, too. There's a lot of really good players that are recruited to come play for North Carolina. So the guy did everything that you're supposed to do as a leader of a team. You don't leave your team in the middle of you guys becoming a great team. This guy threw 38 touchdowns last year, threw for over 4,000 yards. 4,321 to be exact. He averaged 308 yards per game. This is an incredible quarterback. And his longest throw last year was an 80-yard throw. And the way that his release is, it's just so smooth. A lot of people talk about Caleb Williams and how good he is and versatile he is and blah, 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 blah. But Drake Maye is a guy that really does get you excited because he's not playing with guys who are supposed to be legit 4-4-3 guys and, you know, just outstanding players from all across the nation. A lot of North Carolina guys are coming from that area, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, DC, just all those areas around there, Florida. And, they're not getting the top tier of the guys. So Drake has done a great job of working with what he has. And that's exactly what it takes to be a great NFL quarterback. So if I really do, when I cut on tape, I don't see Caleb Williams as the number one pick in the draft. I just don't. Okay. I think that May and Hartman actually will be the ones that battle it out for that first spot. I think that's the 1 and 2 right there, to be honest with you. So Drake Maye, I expect some big things coming from him this year. He's a 9-1 to win the Heisman as well, too. So that's a really good bet. Hartman comes in at 18-1 at this point. And then you got Caleb Williams, who's plus 450 to defend his Heisman. So, you get a lot of value with the Heisman, and we'll get more into that. I got a list that I'm putting together for good future bets on the Heisman. So, with that, let's go ahead and move forward to our next topic, and that's going to be, can Nick Chubb be the first running back in a decade to win MVP? Now, the MVP award has become the quarterback award, and I really don't think that we should be doing that. I think that, yes, the quarterbacks have done an amazing job over the years, but every year the quarterback is not your most valuable player. And I feel like with this situation right here with the Browns, you got Nick Chubb ready to break out into a position that makes him just, elite this year. He's already elite as is, but I think that this is the year where everybody recognizes that Nick Chubb is the best running back in football. And it's going to be a process. It's going to be a journey. But this is the first year where Nick Chubb doesn't have to worry about being the whole offense. They've had some pretty good years where guys where they were able to play off of Chubb and make sure that they could get the play action plays going down the field, all that good stuff, and it worked. But this year, Nick Chubb is going to be asked to do a little bit more because Kareem Hunt's not in the picture anymore. Kareem Hunt is now left because the Browns couldn't afford to pay him and Nick Chubb. So, having top 3 running back tandems in the league, that's over with. But they still have some guys there that are good for that running back room. But I think this season, they have the idea that they're going to give Chubb the ball 20 to 25 times this season. They got the ultimate quarterback in Deshaun Watson. So by them not signing Hunt, they pretty much are saying that we know we have a run option at quarterback. And we know that there's going to be a lot of situations where he'll probably tuck the ball and run, or we'll probably have an assigned play to where he's running. And that's exactly what you can feel coming from the Browns this year and from a lot of teams that have running quarterbacks, because we're having this situation where, they're refusing to pay top running backs because they figured out that, we can just use the quarterback to run a little bit as well too. And that is a detriment to the future of your team. You're paying guys $160, $200 million. You're not paying them to be running backs and quarterbacks. You're paying them to be the quarterback. So I think that a lot of us need to just dial it back a little bit on the devaluation of running backs. I think that the NFL is going to look at this situation and how these guys took a stand, and they're going to gauge the running back position by a case-by-case situation. They're not going to let the top 5 guys just go in there and not make their money. It's just, that's not possible. I just don't feel like that's going to happen. I think that really what you got to do with the running back position, you have to make it an incentive-based contract to where guys have to hit their goals. But I know that that gives coaches the power to block your money. We all know that. We know that. But, pretty much in today's NFL, I feel like you have to earn your bonuses. That's the best way to compensate everybody, because there's a lot of people getting overpaid. Let's just keep it real. 60% of the league is overpaid. And I know that sounds crazy right now, but really go look at the NFL, and a lot of PT guys are moving parts, and they're getting $10, $12 million a year. Nick Chubb, to me, has to be the answer for why the running back position cannot be devalued. He has to be the face of the running backs this year, because Nick Chubb doesn't talk a lot. He's not out there, standing up on Twitter and having rants and all that good stuff and going on podcasts talking about, they need to treat us better. He does a lot of his talking on the field. And I think that if he has a great year and the guys that are struggling to get their long-term deals, they follow him up with a great year, the running backs can go ahead and let the NFL know that you're not going to be able to push this show without us. And I think that's absolutely needed. And I think that Nick Chubb, I'm putting a little pressure on you, but I think that Nick Chubb is the capable player to make sure that the definition of a running back doesn't get too dumbed down, so teams can feel better about being cheap about one of the greatest positions in all of sports, not just in football, but in any sport. A very key asset to everything when it comes to winning in the game of football, and that is the running back. All right, so let's go ahead and move on and talk about the wide receivers. And you know what? I got another theory that I'm having as well too. The wide receivers are next, because there's so many talented wide receivers as well too, and they're getting hurt left and right as well. And then there's guys that they're great one year and then they don't show up the next year. That's just kind of just how the NFL is. But is Zay Flowers a high value bet for Rookie of the Year? Well, Zay Flowers is a guy that is going to be playing with the fastest quarterback in the NFL, and that's going to be with Lamar Jackson. Both guys are from Florida, so the chemistry will be there. He's been working with them all summer. He's has went ahead and became one of OBJ's most focused students as well, because OBJ's out there working with them as well. So they got this thing. They got the ball rolling here in Baltimore. They got some chemistry already before, we step into camp and get things flowing in that direction. So at this point, Zay Flowers is a very attractive fantasy bench player possibly, or he could be a guy who you can put out on the flex, but we got to see what he's capable of doing. That's why I said that you can draft him to your bench. But I think Zay Flowers will wind up being a guy that doesn't get that far out of the realm of fantasy owners, but also I think that he can be a very valuable Rookie of the Year pick. You know what I mean? Because the Rookie of the Year is something that is kind of a wide open play for me, in my opinion, this year. But I feel like it's going to wind up being one of these receivers, because they drafted 4 receivers in a row. And JSN, awesome. He might be on the best situation with Seattle. Jordan Addison might have the best lead man in front of him with Justin Jefferson. And then you have Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is a guy that has a quarterback that scrambles, runs around, keeps plays alive for as long as he can, and he finds little speedy receivers like Zay Flowers. So I think that this could be a very good bet for folks if they are truly invested in who wins the Rookie of the Year. And I truly do feel that this is a strong, strong play, because when you get down to the nitty gritty, this guy played so well at a school that catered to the run game. And we all know Boston College is more of a 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of school. And if they have a good wide receiver, that's good for them. But that doesn't mean that wide receiver is going to be somebody that's going to make an impact in the NFL. I came to realize over time that wide receivers that come from run-orientated schools that have major big stats from that school with a very average quarterback, they wind up being pretty good NFL players. A good example comes to mind, Kenny Brett. Kenny Brett was an absolutely exceptional player his first 5 seasons in the league. It wasn't his fault that he had to go play for the Tennessee Titans, who were a very run-orientated team. When he was on that team, they had Chris Johnson and Lindell White, and they had Vince Young as well, too. So Kenny was able to find a way to be Vince Young's favorite receiver there. So the guy was the biggest game changer on that Rutgers team as well, too, outside of Ray Rice. So Zay Flowers is in the same type of situation, played in the same type of league as well, too. I know it's not the Big East, but the ACC pretty much is the old Big East football with the ACC. So, it was the same type of situation, because you have a real hardcore groups of defenses in the ACC. And he stepped it up. And he made some big time plays, and he made some big time money for making those big plays. And now he finds himself probably in the best under the radar situation out of any of those top receivers who were drafted 20 through 24 or 20 through 23. I'm sorry. And we all know Quentin Johnston probably has the best quarterback in the rotation. JSN has the best wide receiver room. Addison has the best coach, that has the best lead man. And Zay Flowers has the most explosive quarterback in all of football. And he teams up with one of the more explosive wide receivers in all of football when he is on his A game in OBJ. So there's a lot of big things going on in Baltimore that makes them the tricky team. But the thing about Zay is this, and this is why they feel they don't need to pay running backs too much anymore. You can put Zay in the backfield. You know what I mean? You can run him off reverses. You can run him off these fun little run plays and things like that, and have him in a Deebo Samuel type situation as well too. So you have a lot of things working out for you in your favor when it comes to Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is a hell of a player, and I think that it can be huge for the Ravens moving forward if this guy's able to get off the way that he got off at Boston College. Now, if he's able to do that, Baltimore is going to be one of the more dangerous teams in the NFL because they got speed on speed on that offense now. And if that offensive line can hold up all season, because that's the key part, is that offensive line staying healthy all season, the Ravens are going to be a team that's going to be tough, and them. I just looked at what they are today. They're a plus 220 to win the North. That's monster value, in my opinion. I think that I know they're rating the Bengals first because the Bengals been good the last 2 years, but if we keep it real, the Ravens truly are the favorite to win the division when you look at it. They got the guy who got the big contract in Lamar Jackson. And then they got the guy in OBJ that everybody wanted at receiver. Then you bring back J.K. Dobbins. You bring back that bulletproof defense. And then you add in Zay Flowers. There's a lot of great things going on. And then Mark Andrews. Can't forget about him, top 5 tight end. So there's a lot of things when you say to yourself and you look at those odds to win the North, you say to yourself, no, the number one team, the number one odds should be the Ravens, not the Bengals. The Bengals are good, but at the end of the day, the Ravens got the better coach. It's that simple. So the toughest division in football is going to be really tough this year, but Baltimore has the right type of unit to handle this tough division, in my opinion. So with that, let's go on to our next topic. And after this topic, we will be going to our first break. And this topic is going to be George Kambosas returns to the U.S. to take on Maxi Hughes in a 135 showdown, a card that also features silver medalist Keyshawn Davis. Now, when you look at the way that this sets up, you have yourself a very fun situation with you have yourself a very fun situation with this fight. The fight's going to be in Oklahoma this weekend as well. You have a lot of people that are very, they're kind of high on Kambosas, but they're very high on Keyshawn Davis. I think that Keyshawn Davis and Kambosas might be preparing themselves for a possible showdown after this as well, too. Top Ranks is not really that slick on how they do their matchmaking. And I think that, Keyshawn Davis keeps calling everybody out. He keeps saying he'll take this guy on. He'll beat this guy. He'll beat up this guy. He'll beat you up. The guy talks like he's Joe Louis reborn or something like that, or just, that he's the greatest fighter to ever step in a ring. And you love the confidence, but he hasn't fought anybody either. The last guy he fought, Rolly knocked him out. He needed the ref to stop the fight. Rolly knocked the guy out. It's different. It's levels to this. You know what I mean? And when you get guys like that who get knocked out, you got to knock them out too. And if you don't knock them out and the ref got to stop the fight, then you know what? I don't know how seriously we can take you. You're 7-8-0 right now. You are still learning the game. And I think that this will probably be his toughest fight coming up because he spent a lot of time talking back to people on the internet. But he's actually taken a break off that as well, too, because he kind of put himself in a bad position to where it was like, okay, now it's time to, tighten things up a little bit and focus in on your job. And that's being a boxer. So that's him. George Kambosas might be the most overrated fighter I've ever witnessed in my life. George Kambosas had one great night in New York, and we are stuck with him now. People are actually talking about this guy like he's some type of top contender or something of that nature. I truly feel that George Kambosas, once he got that big moment against Teofimo Lopez, he lost all types of whatever hunger he had towards being a great boxer that night. He just is in love with the fact that he was a world champion. He was able to get a lot of new fans, a lot of people who didn't like Teofimo. They loved George Kambosas. He was able to go back home, have two homecoming fights where he got absolutely one-sided by Devin Haney. How can you have a homecoming fight and you get one-sided by the challenger twice? And literally, he was a belt holder. He was never a champion. He literally was a placeholder. When I say placeholder, that means that you had one good night. You get to hold the belts until the actual champion comes and picks it up. So same thing goes for Buster Douglas. You were a placeholder. You held those belts until Holyfield came and picked those up. You want me to just keep going on about it? You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of guys that had one great night and they were just a placeholder of a belt. They were never a true champion. I know they'll say, oh, yeah, he's a champion. You'll never take away that he was a champion. To me, a champion, yeah, you won that night, but a champion is a guy that has more than one defense of those championships, in my opinion. If you don't have more than one defense of your championship, you're a placeholder. It's that simple. And Maxi Hughes is a talented fighter. Maxi Hughes might not be Tyson-powered lightweight like Tank Davis or somebody, but he is a guy that will frustrate you, will beat you with great skills, and he's a guy that's been overlooked for a very long time. A lot of people ask for Maxi Hughes to get a big fight against Shakur, against Devin, against Tio when he was still there at 135. Ryan Garcia. Now he gets George Kambosas. This fight right here, if Maxi Hughes is able to win the fight, Maxi Hughes gets himself a title fight within the next two bouts after this or immediately after this, because those type of guys are the guys that you'll be like, oh, I want him if he wins. And I like Maxi Hughes going into this fight this weekend. I think that George Kambosas has been well paid. His family's taken care of now. And so the passion to be a top boxer, that's out the window. He just likes to talk on Twitter. That's it. And he likes to to have people, always talk about that one night in New York. And you know what? He's going to live with that for the rest of his life, pretty much. So to me, he was a one night only guy. And I think that it will be exposed come Saturday. So if you're looking for some big value in boxing this weekend, take Maxi Hughes. I think Maxi Hughes is on his way to getting himself a great victory against the former champion, George Kambosas. He was a unified champion, not undisputed. He was a unified, fought an undisputed fight, and that, and y'all know the rest. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. When I get back, it's time to talk about those Dodgers, and it's time to talk about some MLB Wednesday night. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Caps.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
What's up, world? We are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. Let's go ahead and jump into Blue Crew Daily. We got ourselves the Dodgers. Dodgers are actually getting cooked right now. They're playing against the Orioles, but it's all good. The Dodgers have already won the series, and that's their third series win in a row as well, too. So, everything's looking up on the bright side for the Dodgers right now. So, there's nothing to really get mad about because it happens, man. The Orioles are a team that's very good. They're chasing the Rays right now. Luckily enough for them, they lost those 2 games in a row, and the Rays lost 2 games in a row, so they didn't lose any type of ground at all. You know what I mean? So pretty much, and this weekend, they are playing against the Devil Rays as well, too. So that's a pretty fun sight to see that they're meeting up already for this, and pretty much the Blue Crew Daily. Dodgers are rolling with the set lineup of vets, get a blowout win 10-3 over the Orioles, looking to sweep in the matinee game today. And I just got done talking about that right now. And pretty much you have to really look at everything with a brighter scope of things when it comes to the situation that's going on with the Dodgers. The Dodgers are a team that they're starting to be the mash unit a little bit. You're starting to get guys that are in and out of the lineup with injuries. Yesterday, Marinus actually hurt his hamstring, and he actually came in and filled in for Jason Hayward, and then wound up his leg wasn't feeling too good, and he went ahead and he was out for the rest of the game. Actually, Chris Taylor had to take over yesterday as well, too. But the Dodgers had a great effort yesterday. They won 10-3. Jason Hayward kicked off the game with a 3-run home run and then took a rest for the rest of the night because that was kind of planned that, let him get a bat or two. If he gets himself a nice little hit move, we'll go ahead and we'll sit him down for the rest of the we'll go ahead and send him down for the rest of the game. And that's exactly what happened. Then you had Will Smith have himself a good game yesterday as well too. The Dodgers have actually cut this lead down to 5-8. It's kind of messed up though because our under is now dead because Julio didn't want to kill it for us this morning, but it's all good. Yesterday though, the Dodgers, they went 10-3. Monday they won 6-4. So they're handling their business. They're doing a great job, and that's what it's all about. The Dodgers only needed one home run to get things started yesterday, and then they won the old-fashioned way, with just hustling, and that's that. You got to love that. You got to mix it up. It can't always be about the 4 homers in a game and we won. You have to figure out ways to get your guys on base and move those guys to scoring runs. And that's what we call just platoon ball. And I think the Dodgers have rediscovered platoon ball because they spent a lot of time trying to hit homers and keep up with the homers and trying to, hit as many homers as possible and try to have that big grand slam when it's time to have a big grand slam. And, the Dodgers have found themselves struggling because of that. Today, they got Outman the homer, they got Muncy the homer, 2 guys that are kind of who are real strikeout prone, but they both hit homers today. That's huge. And I truly do feel that the Dodgers have found the groove that they need to have. Now, I say don't jump on Julio Urias's neck too hard. He's trying to come back. He's trying to get back. It's going to be tough. It seems like for every other time out, he gets a little shellac, but he'll come back around and he'll make up for it. So I'm not too worried about him yet. But the Dodgers, all in all, from what you're seeing this month, they're playing some of their best baseball. And this has been probably the Dodgers' best month of baseball as well, too. The Dodgers have won actually 6 in a row. I mean, not 6 in a row, but the Dodgers have won 6 in a row, and they've actually won their last 8 out of 10. And then for this month, the Dodgers are actually 9-4. So they're doing an excellent job to keep themselves right where they want to be at. You know what I mean? And this team is really in position right now to really take over this division. But San Francisco ain't hearing that. San Francisco's a game and a half back now. Arizona's 2.5 games back. But the fun part about this season with the Dodgers is all that trash talking San Diego did right after they beat the Dodgers until this day 1 of the season. Now, when you look at everything, San Diego's sitting over here 45-50, 10.5 games behind the Dodgers. So, yeah, their whole little we're taking over the West. The Dodgers dynasty is dead and over with. Yeah, those plans didn't get off the way that they were supposed to. So, yeah, Dodgers get to have another good laugh on a team that thought that they were going to be able to bump them out of their spot. And when you look at it, the Dodgers are always playing chess and the Padres are playing checkers. It's that simple. All right. So pretty much with that, let's go ahead and move forward. Let's talk about some MLB Wednesday night. We got ourselves a full schedule. Let me go ahead and run scores right now for you. Dodgers 5-8, right? 8-5. Dodgers are losing their game. Rangers are up 1-0 over the Rays. You have the Cardinals who are up 2-4, who are up 4-2 over the Marlins. You have a tie game going in Colorado right now. We got the 0-0 top of the third in that game. And then you have the Red Sox who are up 2-0 in the top of the first. Now, for games that are final, you have the Guardians and the Pirates. The Pirates won that game 7-5 as a plus 115 dog. And the over hit in that game as well, too, at 8.5. So that's going to be those are the games that are going on right now. We have a full schedule today as well, too. We have 15 games, and then this afternoon we actually have 9 that are going to be getting played. So I do have my 3 to talk about right now. And up first, it's going to be the Brewers and the Phillies. The Brewers coming to this game 52-43, while you have a Phillies team that's coming into this game 53-42. So you see these two teams are not that far apart. And if the Phillies were in the Central, they would be in front in the Central. Now, the Brewers are feeling good. They went into Cincinnati last weekend and they were down a game, 2 games, whatever. After playing those 6 against the Reds in the month of July, and getting a little break in between that as well too, they won 5 out of 6 of those. They find themselves back in position as the number 1 team in the Central. They're up 2.5 games, and they pretty much have the head-to-head working in their favor as well too, because you have to understand they beat them 7 out of 9 times this year, and they play next week as well too. So you have a Milwaukee team that's making their move. Now, Philly has found themselves all the way back. Philly was in bad shape because at one point Philly was on the brink of being in last place. I think they were in last place for a few months back. Now, this team finds themselves in second place with one of the better records in the National League. They find themselves with the third, right behind they would be leading this division as well too, like I just said, but they find themselves right behind the Arizona Diamondbacks, who were a first place team most of the year, like pretty much all of the year. And they have pretty much had a drastic turn here this month, and they've been actually already overtaken by the Giants, but your season's not over yet. You feel the worst for the Marlins because the Marlins worked themselves into a great situation and found themselves in the playoffs as the number 1 wild card team. Now they're out the playoffs as the number 1 wild card. Now they're out the playoffs and they are on the outside looking in. So pretty much we have ourselves a very good race going on here for that final wild card spot. Philadelphia is right knee deep in it. Arizona's knee deep in it. You got Cincinnati, who's a part of it, and you also have the Marlins, who are a part of it. So you have 2 teams that are going to be chasing 3 spots, and so that pretty much means that we got 5 teams trying to get 3 spots, and then you really have a situation where Milwaukee and the Reds, they settle their division. Most likely, the division winner is the only one getting into the playoffs this year because it seems like Arizona, San Francisco, and the Dodgers are going to have a nice little triangle going on. And it seems like Philadelphia is going to really, really take off just a little bit more. We got to see exactly what goes down once they play Atlanta. So we'll see how it goes. But with this game tonight, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the Brewers as my dog of the day today. I'm going to take them with the plus 125. I like Rhea here. Rhea has been a good pitcher for us on the road. I'm going to keep it real. And Rhea has been able to take care of his business when I need him to take care of his business. So plus 125 on him tonight. I'm all in on that, baby. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And we move forward from there. Let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be the Yankees and the Angels. This game is going to be an early afternoon game at the Big A. It starts at 4 o'clock Pacific time. So that's a lot earlier than they usually start, but I think that they're just trying to go ahead and have themselves a good little afternoon matinee game, have that thing over by 7 o'clock. It's going to be really hot at that stadium today, so, try to dress correctly for that game. Honestly, I wish I would be there. I would love to watch the Yankees play in person. I really wanted to go to the game when they played the Dodgers and stuff, but they were over there asking for Laker prices on the Laker front row prices on that one. So I was cool. So pretty much we got the Yanks and the Angels, and you have the Yankees. Yeah, the Yankees coming in here 50 and 46. You have the Angels 48 and 48. The Angels have won the first 2 games of the series, so pretty much they've got the series locked up, it looks like, to win the series. So, the Yankees got to get it together. The Yankees are they're at a boiling point now, and the Yankees, losing these 3 games and losing their last 4 out of 6, really the Yankees have actually lost their last 8 out of 10. You know what I mean? And it's been rough. They lost 2 series and they've lost 3 series in a row. Actually 4 series in a row, and it's tough. You know what I mean? And it's just tough right now. And they can't get swept by the Angels. Let's just keep it real. And tonight they got Rodon on the mound. Rodon is a high-paid pitcher. There's no excuses. He needs to show up tonight. He had a bad game against Colorado. I think that he'll be able to lock it down here in this game. Now you have Chase Sislet, who's a spot starter, so he's not going to go more than 2 innings tonight. So this should be a matchup that really does turn into, who's going to do the hitting. You know what I mean? That's really the question that you're going to ask here. Who's going to be the big hitting side of this situation? So pretty much with that tonight, I do like the Yankees with the -1.5. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But I do like the Yankees in this spot tonight. I think the Yankees are good money. So let's see how it goes. All right, so we move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about the next game that I have up for you guys. And this is going to be the game that we got tonight. And that's going to be between these two, the Nationals and the Cubbies. And the Nationals and the Cubbies. This is going to be a good one because you have two teams that are kind of going in the wrong direction, even though the Cubs are really a late push away from actually being in this division race. I know it sounds crazy, but you know what? The thing is, this is baseball, and this is a wild and crazy division, in a sense, the Central. So I truly do feel that the Cubs do have a run in them. They have the capable players. Because when you look at rosters, the Cubs have the roster that have guys that have played in big games. Cody Bellinger played in the World Series 3 times. You know what I mean? So, you got other players that have played in the World Series as well, too, in that group. And a lot of other teams in the division can't say that. It's up to them, though. If they can hit a hot little run, a hot little streak, they should be good. But I think if the Cubs are thinking about next year already and what they're going to do, they can get a lot of assets at the trade deadline. And I would say this, the biggest asset they can get rid of right now and get almost a king's ransom for him, not a full king's ransom for him, but I think that you could give up Stroman right now and you could get a lot for Stroman. And the Dodgers might need to look at this as well too. But as I keep saying, the Dodgers are more looking at middle relievers and a possible closer. The starting situation is kind of funny because the Dodgers can really start anybody at the position, because they have that idea spot starting as well too. So, there's just a lot of things that work out. And pretty much when you look at this game tonight, though, you got a pretty good pitching matchup here with Williams and with Hendricks tonight. So what I like here is something simple, you know what I mean? And it's going to be the under 9.5 tonight, Nats Cubs. I don't see a lot of craziness going on in this game. I just think that they'll be simple and we'll get to it and we'll wind up getting an under here. So that's going to be my play for that game right there. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take our last break. And when I get back, it's time to talk those tickets. So stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing. With daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash. And move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. So let's go ahead and jump into our talking tickets subject for today. I know that nephew is on right now, and I know this is his favorite portion of the show, and I know a lot of other people who watch the show say favorite portion of the show. I always see the eyes get a little bit more when we do get to talking tickets. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We only got one group today, and that's going to be this pick six that's 50-1. As I already said, the Brewers are my dog of the day at plus 135 today. We also have the Yankees minus 1.5. We got to have them win by 2 runs, so I'm taking them with the plus 115 on that bet as well. We have the over 10 with the Diamondbacks and the Braves today, and then we have the under 9.5 with the Nats and the Cubs. Royals, we do need the Royals to win today, but I'm going to go ahead and take the plus 1.5 with the minus 135. You guys know that we are riding those series bets as well, too. And I'll go ahead and I'll make sure that we show the results of those tomorrow, you know what I mean? So everybody can start seeing the results of these bets that I put out for you guys that have like future implications to them. And then we finish up with the Mariners in the nightcap with the minus 150 on the money line. So there it is. So pretty much, yep, always feeling good, always feeling great. You wake up and get to see the world. You get another opportunity to go ahead and do great things. That's what it's all about. So pretty much with that, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into the show today. You guys are the absolute best. I'll be back tomorrow, same time at noon. I should be doing something with Jeff tomorrow. That all depends if everything's in place with him. But I'll definitely be on Voice America with my man, Mike Abadir, and we'll be talking some horse racing, talking some baseball. And, we'll probably pick up where we left off last week, talking about the free agency running back situation as well, too. I know that, pretty much he was very quick with his answers about how the market works and all that good stuff now. But, I got some words to say. So you guys make sure to tune in to Voice America tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific time. I'll be on the Mike Abadir show. Also, you guys tune into my show at noon, and then I should be with Jeff 10:30 Pacific time tomorrow doing the mid-morning report with him. So it's a full day of Pop DiBiase talking sports tomorrow. Make sure you tune in for all of them, okay? So with that, I thank you guys very much once again for tuning in. You guys are the absolute best. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.